Hey everybody, this is Rich and Ryan. We're in the Sax Pro Shop today, and we're going to do an overview of our Knipex line of pliers. These are pliers that are made in Germany, and these are probably some of the best pliers in the world.
I would say so.
Yeah.
If you say universe, that's a little big, but definitely the world. They are the best pliers in the world.
So we chose these because the steel that these are made from is incredibly strong, and these are kind of an industry standard. They become an industry standard. This particular style of plier, this is the 7-inch Knipex, this is the 6-inch. They are parallel action pliers. They have this kind of cam style lever here. You can change the width of the jaw opening like so by pushing the button and then clicking it in there. They're incredibly sturdy, and the handles are a shape that fits comfortably in your hand. It gives you incredible leverage, uses the strongest part of your grip to operate these. And so we're going to talk about the different styles of pliers that we've machined in our shop from the original Knipex. So we've got the 7 and 6-inch Knipex, we've got our parallel duckbills, our swedging, and what is this one?
This is the Super Jumbo.
Jumbo.
If you really need to adjust something, you know, it's good for. I used to tighten fittings on my tanks when I'm soldering. You know, changing the tanks. You know, the oxygen, the acetylene, the propane. So it's good for that because you can adjust it for whatever size, and then your hands are still real close, nice together. It's also great for adjusting piccolos. You got a stubborn piccolo.
Yep.
You can just
clamp it right in there.
Get it in there. It's playing a little, you know, sharp. You got to flatten it out some. There you go.
Yes.
So, but it's great if you really need some muscle.
So this would be good for, say, percussion repair or any sort of repair of a large item in your shop.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, man, that is a size.
Those are
You're right. Those are perfect for piccolo.
Those are, yeah. It's a beefy pair of pliers there.
The other one that's kind of a standalone plier is the side cutting pliers. These are incredibly durable side cutting pliers. They'll cut through. Now. Don't do this. Don't aim this at the camera, okay? But you know, you can. This is an 055 stainless steel wire that you can cut through that like butter. Here's, I think this is a 1mm steel, blued steel. We've got a 1mm gold plated. You can shoot that across the room at your buddy. And remember, shop safety, folks. You would probably do this down here.
Yeah.
But
aim away from somebody's
for our demonstration
eyes.
Purposes, we're going to, okay, so there's our Knipex side cutting pliers. They're incredibly, and you know what? This is Ryan's pair, and he's had these for what?
5
years?
At least, yes. And not a mark on them as far as the jaws being.
So yeah, these will probably last, you know.
Longer than I will. Let's put it that way. These will work longer and harder than I will. Especially on Fridays.
So these are a great pair of pliers for that tool, for any sort of side cutting. I wouldn't, you know, you're probably not going to do your electrical work with these, but in the shop, I haven't seen a better side cutting plier.
And onto we got the duckbill.
Let's talk about the duckbill.
The duckbill, which we actually modify here in the shop.
Now the reason we chose this plier again is because this steel is harder, stronger than any other that we've seen in terms of a parallel plier, and we can't machine these in anything but a high-speed environment.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, these are great for getting in tighter areas that you need, like right in there. You can see if I were to use these larger pliers, you really can't get that jaw quite far enough in there, but with the duckbill, they're real accessible. Again, same thing with the cam action. If you need to adjust it bigger, you can do so. I'll use these a lot of times if I'm adjusting touches. You know, you can grab it like this, you know, rather than, you know, marring the touch up like this. You can grab it from the side like that. Obviously the large and then the small one.
Now I've seen folks use these on clarinet,
on
flute, because that's kind of the main, you know, you would say, well, why would I get this modified version when I can just use my original pair. This is really a clearance thing. Is that right?
Absolutely, yep.
So these are going to get into tight places. You can also
Yeah,
pull
you can get in
rods
here
with
like
those. Oh, excuse me.
working in the
Yeah,
back
no,
here.
No,
On the back bar of the lower stack, you can get in there with the bell.
Can you show them that?
Yeah,
If I hold the...
absolutely.
Let's get this big guy out of here.
You can see sometimes if I need to get in here and adjust, it's just too much. For here, if I can get in there with the smaller,
If I hold that, can they see it better? Okay.
so you can see how I can get in there. If I need to adjust a foot, the clearance is much better on the duckbill.
Cool.
And they're still strong, and they're still just as strong. So if I can grab one side like this,
Whoa, is
Inside
this
of
gonna be like, uh-oh.
so let's see.
Let's see how strong, let's see this. Oh boy.
you can see.
Oh! Whoa.
Just
Okay.
like that.
Okay. And do we have any, this reminds me of where they take the guy takes the blade to the hammer.
Yes, and then cuts the tomato. We could, if we wanted to, squeeze a tomato with this afterwards. So the jaws are still strong.
So these jaws are fairly thin compared to their original. So we take a good bit of material, but they're still incredibly strong even at the tip of the jaw. So you can use these for a variety of grabbing situations. Ryan, can you also, I get a lot of requests for like the T-PAL type adjustment.
yes.
Can you show those? Because we don't have, we're redesigning the T-PAL, we're
Yes.
redesigning the spring bending levers, but the Knipex duckbill is something that you can use
Absolutely.
for like a T-PAL style
Absolutely,
adjustment.
yeah. So T-PAL was kind of designed to kind of get in there on the key spine. If you needed to adjust, let's say this key, left and right like that, you would get in there with the T-PAL. It would grab the spine rather than bending the cup. But this will do the exact same thing because it's parallel. I can adjust it so that when I squeeze down, it's not going to completely crush that spine. I can get in there. And it's a nice solid grip. My hands close together when it's very strong, and I can actually bend that back and forth like that. Same thing here. I can grab this. I can do some adjusting. It's nice, and again, the smooth jaws, it won't mar the brass surface.
Can you show them on the left hand too? Because that'll probably be
absolutely.
really
Up here,
easy
yep.
to see.
Bending pearls like this. You can adjust it if you need to. Let's say adjust this pearl. You can open this up.
You're adjusting the actual touch,
Yep,
the
adjusting
pearl.
the actual touch here.
Oh, so like on our G key, this is sitting on
I
the
can grab
key
it just
arm.
like that.
Really?
And I can adjust it up, I can adjust it down, I can bend it. Yeah, it's great for, and again, the parallel action gives you a lot better gripping force versus something that has like scissor action, something like that.
Cool. So that's the Knipex, and that's the medium size, and then this is the small size, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Now-
we've taken a 7-inch plier, and that's what the medium is from, right?
Yep.
Okay. And
Absolutely,
Then
yep.
just so I got all my
if you can
ducks
almost
crossed
just-
and T's.
Right there, you can see
In a row.
what's taken away. So, absolutely.
And this is all done in our shop by Rick, right?
Yep. Rick was the one that designs all those.
That's
machines
just
it out.
beautiful, man.
Absolutely.
I wish Rick was around here. We could, give him a pat on the back.
I know.
for-
He's out there in the machine shop just
working
working away,
away.
coming up with new tools. So, and then now on to the swedging pliers.
Do you need this horn for?
I don't. I have a
of
key
keys?
here that I'm
Okay,
gonna do
cool.
some swedging on and show you you all basically some basic swedging. This is the swedging pliers. I'd say if I had to take a guess, I'd say this is probably the 75% of the swedging I do with the Knipex. This exact plier right here.
So that's the medium, and so these holes are kind of sized for saxophone keys.
Yes. Yeah. So the biggest one here would be kind of for this one. Again, right there. You can see that's a nice good fit. Nice thing about the Knipex pliers is, again, this is parallel, so you get most of that squeezing action with these 3 fingers right here, and I can go all the way to the very end when I go and swedge.
Okay.
And get as much force out of that as possible. Again, because these are so strong, there is no flex.
So you get a lot of leverage.
You get
with
all that power that goes from here right to the very end, goes all the way into that hole. And you can see here where I made those swedging marks, because the jaws we actually modify in here and they're smooth, very little marring. very little marring, and it's like very strong. We also have the smaller one as well. People use these on flute, clarinet, oboe, anything that you have smaller diameter hinge tubes. Vintage soprano saxophones that may have very small, very thin hinge tubes.
Can we talk about the difference with the handle and the leverage, and then the difference between, this is our just single hole plier. We're also in the process of redesigning these, and this is a part of our repair journey, and you can find that those posts on social media. And this is our repair journey, is where we are involving technicians in the redesign of our particularly our swedging pliers. So look that up and comment and get involved with that development process.
Yeah, we want your input.
And so, Ryan, tell me about the difference. Can we just give them kind of a visual with this handle shape and then the Knipex handle shape?
Yeah, absolutely.
From the swedging.
To get the most amount of grip, you're either using these 3 fingers, or sometimes you can use these 3 fingers. When you grab with all 4, it doesn't tend to be as strong versus grabbing with just the 3, especially the pinky side. So for me, when I'm using a pair of swedging pliers, I would want the ends here to be a little bit more parallel. You can see these are they kind of come back in, so they're almost parallel. But really, to get that most amount of power, you want your fingers to be as far away from this fulcrum as possible.
That's giving you the most leverage.
It gives you the most leverage, the most amount of power. If I'm up here real close, first off, I have no squeezing power. My hand's too far apart, and it's just not going to get enough force. So the further I can get out to squeeze, the most amount of force.
When you say, you mean your hands too close together?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. Cool.
Okay. So the nice thing about the Knipex is, because, as you can see, they're more parallel, I can get a lot more force. And again, they don't have that flex.
Is it too much force?
I don't think there's enough. You can't have too much force. You could in theory.
In terms of like marring or anything like that, or is that just technique?
Technique has a lot to do with it. If you're doing the technique where you're squeezing down, you're releasing, and then you're rotating, you're going to cut down on that and the amount of marring. If you're doing the other technique where you're squeezing and then rotating while you hold that squeeze, you're going to have some marks on there, some marring. Okay. But because these jaws are very smooth, this will cut down on that. And then
talk about what about, because we have this hole, it does seem like this would provide, or this would have some clearance issues in certain situations. So like, I know that this is part of the redesign, but how do we handle that problem with the Knipex pliers?
That's a good question.
So talk about those.
These guys right here. This is for the 5mm hole. I believe the largest size on this is 4mm hole. If you're working on vintage berries, specifically, Busher Big B's or even Con 12Ms, you need a bigger hole, and that's why we put it at the very end here, so you can get some more clearance out of it if you needed to, especially if I'm swedging up in here. Obviously, if this would be a little bit more difficult to fit on, so that's why we have the single holes. I'll use the MusicMedic ones, hopefully the ones that we'd redesign. So will also have clearance.
Is that what you do right now? Like if you come into a clearance issue with the inner hole here,
correct.
Do you just use the single hole for now?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, 75% is this, 20% is that, and then another 5% is just luck. It's just luck.
You just squeeze it between your finger and thumb?
It's mental force.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's about it.
The Knipex line, yes, including the big boy there.
The
sweet oboe adjusters. So yeah, you want to adjust your oboe.
Well, that's it for now, guys. If you have questions or comments, please message us and get in with that repair journey. Look that up on social media and follow that and contribute to that conversation. So one of the things about the single hole pliers that we can do here is we can machine a custom hole if you need it. So if you have a standard pair of pliers and you need a different size diameter hole that we don't stock, and you wanted them to be single hole, that's something we could do as a special order. It takes a little bit of time, but we can do that. Is it swedging or swaging?
Swaging. That is a good question. It is actually, I asked Rick, our machinist, it is swage. So when you're swage,
it is not.
It is swage. I swear. He told me. He wrote it down on a napkin. But yeah, it's when you actually
legitimate.
Crush down and reduce the diameter to tighten it up. That's swaging.
That's
when you go in and open. Like if I swaged this too much,
yeah,
I would have to put something in there and open that tubing back up. That's swedging, like a wedge is being put in.
Get out of town.
So
really?
Swage, yeah, I know. You learn something new every day.
Wow.
Which means I forgot something old, so I probably forgot where I live or my phone number. So yeah, so swaging, these are swaging pliers. I promised Rick I would pronounce it correctly. Swaging.
Good job.
Swaging pliers. He'd be so proud if we were here right now, but he's out working. So,
well, thank you, Ryan, for clearing up swedging and swaging. If you guys have any questions or comments, please feel free to message us and check out that repair journey and contribute to that conversation there. And until next time, happy repairing.